We would like to thank everyone for their time today and their continued dedication to providing supports to all students with their behavioral, social, emotional, and academic needs. This presentation will be going through an updated framework all high schools are working towards implementing called Success. Students understanding the characteristics and criteria to ensure skills for success. Success is a multi-tiered system support building off of the work you've already started with PBIS, RTI, and other supports, and braiding in those to ensure all students are able to reach their full potential. All schools are providing a variety of supports to students. However, similar to having a bunch of bicycle parts, these parts cannot come together and work as they are intended. We need a framework to construct these supports within so we can efficiently support all students. Looking at last year's 8th grade students, who this year are in our high schools, we see 4,754 total students who had 11,136 office referrals, 22% suspension rate, 1,127 total students suspended, 38% of referrals from the classroom learning environment, and 96 students suspended more than 10 days. Those same students were all screened on STAR last year, and we find that 80% of those students are performing below target in reading. Looking at the same 8th grade students last year, we see 77% were performing below target in math. Here are the percentage of students completing high school courses last academic school year. Take a moment to review this data. We cannot assure on-time graduation if students are not successfully completing the coursework. All elementary schools are also working on identifying all students below target and providing tiered systems of support around their behavioral, social, emotional, and academic needs. This work will take time and effort from all staff members, not just high schools. Please take a moment and silently reflect. What reaction do you have to this data in terms of how students experience high school? We are introducing the multi-tiered system support we are calling Success at all high schools. You should have received this handout today. This does not capture everything we will be supporting students with, but has an overall layout of how we are tiering our supports for all students. For the past few years, schools have been implementing PBIS to provide support to all students. However, we are finding that this alone is not enough of a support. This is why we are looking to braid together various approaches to make a stronger support system for our high schools and the high needs of all students. We are working towards braiding behavioral and social and emotional supports within one framework. We are starting with elements of PBIS you are already working on, including relationship and community building, setting expectations, rules, and procedures, involving student input, creating redirection strategies for negative behaviors, and braiding in other supports such as behaviors have a function, listening wholeheartedly, the restorative practices continuum, and mindfulness. These supports start with individual teachers on a daily basis, with things you are already doing. All students and staff members should build expectations and rules for all settings. If you already have PBIS expectations, you can continue to use those or take this opportunity to engage more staff and students in their creation. These need to be positively stated, with best practice saying you should have 3 to 5 per area. All staff members can also work on building relationships with all students and creating a classroom with a strong community. Ask yourself, do all students have a connection with at least one adult in the building? Do all staff members get to know all of their students? A key component of success will be to gain input from students and staff members. Schools are encouraged to create a leadership team of students who can provide input on what supports and concerns they see from all students at the school. Staff members need to also have an opportunity to have input and feedback into how the school is supporting the needs of all students. All staff members should also work on ensuring they have redirection strategies for all negative behaviors to help students reach these expectations. All schools should have a T-chart or discipline policy that outlines classroom managed and office managed behaviors. This is a living document that should have input from all staff and students. Take a moment and silently reflect. What role can you play in advancing an individual student's behavioral and social emotional growth? Within Success, we are also working on a variety of academic supports and systems, including using Khan Academy as a Tier 1 practice with math, screening of all 9th and 10th grade students using STAR, identifying all students below benchmark to receive academic interventions, and the use of computer-based interventions supplemented by teacher-led small group instruction. Tier 1 academic supports start with teachers and best practices you are already doing. All teachers need to be engaged with the data of our students using the teacher dashboard, which will help us meet the needs of all students using best practices of differentiation and increasing the opportunities for all students to respond within instruction. Strategies for that include think, pair, share, individual whiteboards, and maximizing wait time. All high schools will also begin to implement the use of Khan Academy, which can now be linked to a student's College Board account to create a personalized learning path. 3 times a year, during the district's screening window, all 9th and 10th grade students will be screened to help identify students in need of further academic intervention. All high schools will continue to increase the math and reading interventions they are able to provide to students. These opportunities can include a face-to-face intervention course, a PBL lab, or another structure at your school. Students identified for intervention will use computer-based interventions such as Khan Academy, Achieve 3000 Boost, ST Math, and Odyssey. These computer-based interventions are supplemented with teacher-led small group instruction. All schools will continue with their teaming structure to support educating the whole child. There's the learning team that works with academics at Tier 1, the PBIS team, which focuses on braiding of behavioral and social and emotional supports for all students at Tier 1, and the building intervention team, or BIT, that ensures systems are in place for Tier 2 and 3 for behavior and academics. Thank you for your time today and your continued dedication to all students. We feel strongly that over the course of implementation, Success will be able to provide the behavioral, social, emotional, and academic supports that all students need to be successful. When this video ends, look at a shoulder partner and discuss what reaction do you have to Success in terms of how will students experience high school.